Hi everyone, it's Ms. Orr. Thank you for joining us for our grade 10 course selection presentation while we guide you in the planning for grade 11 course selection. First, we are going to have a few words from Mr. Zia, and then we will start our presentation.
Thank you, everybody, and welcome to this presentation. It's a very important presentation, so thank you for being here. Hope that you listen attentively to our guidance counselors as they lead you through this process. The reason why this is so important for all of us here is that as we enter into our senior grades, the decisions we make about the courses we choose are going to play a big role in terms of where we will be able to apply for post-secondary and beyond. So I hope that you take this information to heart. Please spend time with your guidance counselor, your teachers, and your parents, and perhaps others who maybe have graduated through the system, and take their advice and listen to it closely and really plan what you're going to be doing in the future. All right, so thank you very much and hope you enjoy the presentation. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you so much. Okay, we are going to start our presentation today with our land acknowledgement. So we would like to begin by acknowledging the land on which we gather and which the Peel District School Board and the Woodland School operates is part of the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. For thousands of years, Indigenous peoples inhabited and cared for this land and continue to do so today. In particular, we acknowledge the territory of the Anishinaabe, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Ojibwe Chippewa peoples, the land that is home to the Métis, and most recently the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, who are direct descendants of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land, and by doing so, give our respect to its first inhabitants. We want to let you know that this presentation is being recorded, so we are going to be posting this up on the Student Services site. It's also going to be sent out to your classroom teachers so that they have an opportunity to post it onto the online classroom for you to view later with your parents. We are also going to have time at the end of this presentation to cover any important questions that you have. So there is a Q&A feature within here, so you can either, jot down your questions as we go through, let your classroom teacher know, or if you are viewing it on your own device, please feel free to type your question into that chat. When we reach the end of our presentation, either myself, Ms. Lagudis, or the teachers that are here for SHSM will have an opportunity to answer those questions for you.
Hi everybody, I'm Ms. Lagudis, and I know I've worked with a number of you already. And I just wanted to let you know that if you were in Ms. Figliotta's alpha previously, students with last names A to D, since Ms. Figliotta will be away on her maternity leave, I will be covering for her, and so I will be working with all of the students then from last names A to L. So I look forward to working with you all and meeting with you, and I do work very closely with Ms. Figliotta and Ms. Orr. We work together and we're all here to support you. So a couple more things that I focused on here in my role. If you're somebody who is going to be needing a little bit more information on dual credit courses in the future, those are free college courses that you might be interested in for next year or your grade 12 year. I can help connect you and register you, tell you a bit more about those. In addition to scholarship information, post-secondary pathway planning, and a lot of other things. So I will turn it over to Ms. Orr to tell you a little bit more about her.
Hi everyone, so Ms. Orr, I am Alpha Guidance Counselor now M through Z. So if you have the last name that starts with M, I am now your guidance counselor and here to help you with anything related to course selection, pathway, volunteer hours, and the like. I also have some of the things that I specialize in, just like Ms. Lagudis specializes in the dual credit and registrations for night school and scholarships. I am happy to help you with all the post-secondary planning, graduations, commencements, volunteer and community service, If you are interested in being a peer mentor or a peer tutor, I can help you with that. If you need assistance from a peer mentor and a peer tutor and would like to get connected, you can contact me as well for that. And then if you're looking for an extended learning opportunity, I am the main contact for Duke of Ed, and I'm happy to help you with that, which is a great opportunity to connect both with skills and service in terms of, you know, maybe something that you want to learn how to do. We also do adventurous journeys, which means we go camping. It's a little bit more in depth than that, and there's 3 levels. So there's bronze, silver, and gold. And you can start it now and you can continue it on after you graduate. So this is a little bit of a summary of some of the things that Ms. Lagudis and I can help you with. So we also have I was like, am I doing teams and clubs? Yes, I am. So as many of you know, we have a lot of stuff that go on in this school. We have a lot of teams, a lot of clubs, a lot of activities, and a lot of events. So we have 2 places where you can find out what some of what it is that's going on. We have our virtual Club Fair slideshow, which will be updated as we've just had a few more additions to the group. So I hope to have that updated by the end of the week. And then on here, you just see a few of what we have to offer here. So if you're looking for ways to be connected with both the school, with clubs, with your peers, these are great ways to do it. And so you also have the club information, which is the spreadsheet where clubs update when they're meeting, where they're meeting, who the staff sponsors are, as well as who the student leaders are within that group. So it's a great way for you to connect and learn new things, explore new interests, and see what it is that you really want to do. So we have Faith in Action, we have Math Club, Writers Club, HOSA, Chess Club, board games, all of it is in there. So there's definitely something for everyone. And if you need any assistance with a club that maybe you want to start up, step 1 is going to be to find a staff sponsor who can help you with that. And then you can go from there and building a club that, you know, is a representative of your interests and your passions.
Okay, onto your credit history and keeping on track with your OSSD diploma requirements. So there are a number of things that are required, as you probably know. You must complete your 40 hours of community service. That's by the time you graduate, not all in 1 year. There's the literacy requirement. This year you will need to write the OSSLT, which is going to happen next year in the spring. And we have a little bit more information coming soon about a mock literacy test that is going to be written this year. So there will be a lot of support leading up to that to help get you ready and to give you more information as we receive the info. Also, by the end of this year, you will likely have received 8 credits. So overall, in order to graduate at the end of your grade 12 year, you will have earned 30 credits. 18 of those are compulsory and then 12 are optional. So we do encourage you to keep on track of that. Double check if you have any questions and you're not sure you're on track to graduate, or perhaps you missed a required course or anything like that. Please keep in touch and just be aware of what you still need so we can make sure that you are on track. Okay, and the next slide, so community service criteria. We do want to take some time and outline this important information for you, as we do have to adhere to pretty specific guidelines as to what counts as community service. So if you look at the list of eligible activities, this could be things like supports for nonprofit agencies, institutions, or foundations. Something that is, for example, it could be supporting a program such as tutoring or mentoring, promoting environmental awareness, and somehow making a positive contribution to the community. Things that are not eligible are roles where students would be displacing paid workers. So if you're doing a role and you're working somewhere where you should technically be getting paid for the work that you're doing, that would not constitute community service. So something that normally requires pay, or something that you participated in that was already for credits, like a co-op course or let's say a Take Our Kids to Work experience. There is a list there for you to go through. If you have any questions, you can also talk to one of your guidance counselors. Now, community service, a little bit more on this, community service versus volunteering. So we know our students work very hard, and we have a number of students who've gone above and beyond, and people are trying to get involved however they can. But there is a difference between community service and then volunteering. So community service is a non-paying job performed by one person for the benefit of their community. So examples of community service could be volunteering at a community food bank, being a camp leader at a not-for-profit camp that offers subsidized pricing. So the type of, let's say, camp that relies on volunteers to be able to offer reduced pricing to families if needed. Being a peer mentor or tutor, let's say through our own school here, we often have opportunities where students can gain some hours within the school. Assisting at an animal shelter, or perhaps helping with programs at a retirement home. Other examples of volunteering, because again, we do have a lot of active volunteers in the school, but if you're holding a leadership position in a club or organization, it's not necessarily community service. Or for example, volunteering at a company where you are helping with administrative tasks, or you're working as an instructor somewhere, or a tutoring center. That is not a center that offers subsidized pricing. That would be more of a volunteer job and would not be eligible for community service hours. If in doubt, please check in with us at any time and we can help.
Okay, so by now in grade 10, you should all be pros at accessing My Blueprint, but in case you are new to the school or new to the board and you're not really 100% sure, you can go straight to byd.peelschools.org, or you can go through your BYOD and you can search right up for My Blueprint, or if you go to view all apps, My Blueprint is listed right there as well. By now, all of you should have access to your My Blueprint account. They are doing some updates this week, so if you do log in and maybe a course that you know is running because we've talked about it, you can't really see it, give it another few days. They're supposed to have all updates done by the end of this week, so I'm crossing my fingers for technology to be friendly so that hopefully by the end of this week you can actually go in there and start planning. So by the end of grade 10, you should have completed 16 credits. So for many of you, that's going to include your 2 English, your 2 math, your 2 science, your 1 Canadian geography, your 1 Canadian history, your 1 physical education, a French, and then your civics and careers, plus the electives that you've done. For some of you, that means that you've taken ESL courses and you could have finished your ESL program, or you could be just about to finish your ESL program. But that's the combination of courses that you've already taken. What you want to do first thing before you start looking at what courses you want to take is you want to go into that secondary school planner and look at what courses you've taken, what courses you are to take for the rest of this school year, and then you can click right to the right of that is a view progress bar, and what that's going to do is that's going to kick you over to the graduation progress, and you can actually see how you are doing with being on track to graduate. So we have all of these little categories that students have to hit before they are eligible to graduate, and what that's going to do in your view progress is you're going to see nice little green check marks when you have finished one of the criteria that you need to do for graduation. So you're going to want to double check that everything is good. If you are missing something or something just doesn't seem right, please reach out to your guidance counselor. My blueprint isn't without flaws. Sometimes it takes a while to update. Sometimes things within it don't update properly. So what your guidance counselor can do is actually double check to make sure the student information system is updated. And as long as we have it on our end, you're good. But if it's missing from my blueprint, sometimes that is indicative that it is missing on our end as well. And the sooner we know of a potential issue, the sooner we can fix it, and then we can all breathe a deep sigh of relief. So compulsory courses and pathway. As Mr. Zia mentioned at the beginning, this is a big year, right? You're going from grade 10, which was a lot of mainstream courses in terms of a very generalized science, generalized maths, and you really now start to focus on what it is that you want to do, both at the post-secondary level, but also kind of seeing what interests and what electives you want to take in grade 11. In grade 9, you only were able to pick 2 electives. Grade 10, you were able to pick about 3, depending on if you did summer school or not. But now you get to pick more electives, and there's so many courses out there for you to pick from. But first things first, you need to make sure that you are selecting your compulsory courses for next year. So these are the ones that you have to sign up for. So first and foremost is English. starting next year, rather than doing the ENG 3UO, which would be your normal English course, all students are going to pick the NBE 3UO, 3UE, or 3CO. So the 3U is the university pathway, 3UE is for the enhanced students, 3C is the college pathway. So this is the Understanding Contemporary First Nation, Métis, and Inuit Voices course. It's fabulous, you're going to love it. So that is now the required English course for grade 11. So please make sure when you are going through your course selection that you are picking that rather than the ENG 3UO. If technology again is kind, the ENG 3UO should not even be an option for you. It should automatically kick you over to the NBE, but we are going to have a checklist that we're going to send out to you right before course selection. So, when we finish these presentations, so that you'll have access to all of that. The other course that you're going to have to pick is your math, right? So you have to have 4 English, 3 math, 2 science. Well, now you're done science, but you're not quite done with math yet. So you are either going to pick your everyday level math, your college level math, or your university level math. And so your guidance counselor can help you with that. Your current math teacher can help you with that. If you have any questions about what math course you want to pick or need to pick, and some of that is going to come down to post-secondary research. What we've added to this slide is the math pathway. So if you've done your university or college or apprenticeship or workplace research and you know kind of what it is that you need, if you need anything at all at the grade 12 level, then you're going to work backwards from this. So let's say you are going to apply to a college program and they really need you to have foundations for college math. So that's the MAP 4C, that's your grade 12 math. Well, then you know in order to be able to take that course, you work backwards and you know that it's the foundation for college math, which is the MBF course. So then that would be your grade 11 course that you would pick. But if you're going to go into a program that requires you to take advanced functions, then again, you work backwards and you say, okay, if I want to take advanced functions, then I either need to take the functions or the data management and work myself backwards from there. So double check that you've followed the pathway, ask questions of your math teacher, ask questions of your guidance counselor, and we can help you make sure that you've picked the appropriate pathway when you are picking those courses. The other thing too this year is that you are going to have to pick an elective course. So this really helps your guidance counselor when it comes time to doing your timetable, because let's say there's a course cancellation or there's a course conflict, we already know what your second option is when we go to look at that. So super important, make sure that you're filling in that alternative course because it's not going to let you submit unless you pick that alternative course. So even if you are submitting a full 8 courses as your course selection, you're going to have to pick one more alternative just in case. Okay? Thank you.
So we really encourage you to take the time in the next few months to learn as much as you can about what the course offerings are and what your choices are. And we know that it can be difficult to choose, especially if you haven't had a chance yet to try a certain course or you're completely new to a course. So all the more reason for you to do some of the research beforehand so you know all of your options. You can review course offerings in 3 ways. You can actually, right through my blueprint, you can review courses under high school. There you will find a description of each course and it can help you navigate all the information. You can find information there about prerequisites. So does the course have something that you would have required in grade 10 in order to be able to take that course, or is it a course that's open for you to take the first time? You can also review the course calendar that is available on the Student Services site. So we do encourage you to check this site often. There's so many resources there and it's always being updated. Also on the Student Services site, you will soon be able to see the virtual course fair with more information on this. So if you do have any questions on this, please make sure to contact us, your guidance counselors, and you can also make an appointment. So here we have the list of optional grade 11 courses. We are so excited to be able to offer a wide variety of courses here in all of these different areas. So if you take a look, we have the arts, business studies, Canadian and world studies, computer science, English, French, health and physical education, science, social science and humanities, technological education, and co-op. And I know we will talk about co-op a little bit more in the next few slides, but also we would like you to know that co-op is a course that you can take which is worth 2 credits, and it is an experiential learning course where you will be working at a placement, and instead of being paid money, you're earning 2 credits. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, and if anybody needs any information, please reach out to us. Do take your time, learn as much as you can about all these options, what they are, if you have any specific questions. Yeah, I think that is it for this slide. Thank you.
Okay. So pathway planning and course selection. So we talk a lot about this, but that's just to underscore just how important this is. So I was even just saying to a student today, you don't want to be sitting in with your guidance counselor in late days of grade 11 or grade 12 and realizing that you've really you need to have a course on your timetable as part of your post-secondary plan. And then, we're sitting there going, okay, let's see how we can make this work. But that's why research is so important. So if you do all the research ahead of time, and like Ms. Laguda said, that's why we are doing these assemblies so early, so that you have time before course selection hits for you to be able to do your research, ask your questions, make an appointment with your guidance counselor, talk to your parents, talk to your classroom teachers. The prefects are even running an event where you can talk to people in the post-secondary world and see what some of their programs are like. And we have a lot of alum at a lot of schools and a lot of programs. And so it's a great network for you to ask those questions and do that research. So you can always modify your plan, and that never stops. So even if you come to your guidance counselor in grade 12 and say, you know what, my post-secondary plan has changed, I need help, we're here to help you with that, but research is key. So if you weren't successful in a course, or you realize you need a course that's added, or you need to change a pathway for a course, we're here to help you with all of that. But again, the sooner you do your research and the sooner you know that's what needs to happen, then the easier we can help you and we can adjust those courses. So part of that is, as soon as the course selection window opens, you're going to want to hit submit, and we're going to talk about timing in a little bit. But do the research, and you can even start going into my blueprint now and selecting those courses and putting it in your secondary planner, so that when course selection opens January 10th, you're just ready to hit submit and you're good to go. But you can take a look. Do you have the prerequisite? Is it in the correct pathway? When in doubt, reach out to your guidance counselor. We're here to help. And then have a final discussion with parents and guardians about your courses for next year, because they're going to play a really pivotal role in your course selection process. So you're going to select your courses, you're going to hit submit, and then you're going to be prompted to add your parents or guardian's email address. That's really super important, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it, but essentially we can't process your course selection until we have a parent or guardian confirmation that they've approved of those courses. So that's also really important. You can also only submit once. Why is that important? Because if you submit and then you realize, ooh, I really need to change this course, or I need to do something different, what that means is that your guidance counselor then has to unapprove your course selections and send them back to you. So it's a bit of a process, and you may miss your window, and so you're going to also really want to make sure that you've done your research, you know exactly what it is that you want to do, and then hit submit. So you're going to want to look at what's your pathway, what's your post-secondary plan. Is it college, university, apprenticeship, workplace? Are you taking a gap year? Do you want to do work within the community? All of this is stuff that you're going to want to consider when you're doing your course selections, and your guidance counselor can help you with that. What do you enjoy? What's your passion? What are you good at? These can drive some of your course selections. If you are really not passionate about particular topics or subjects, don't load your timetable with them, because you want to have a bit of fun. You want to explore new things, yes, but you also really want to engage with the material that you're really passionate about. Students are expected to have completed their research, and once you've selected and submitted your course selection in my blueprint, you're going to be prompted again to add your parents' email so that they can approve, and we can process your course selection from there.
We really want to encourage you to make an informed decision as much as possible, and I really want to echo what Ms. Orr said about it never being 100% written in stone. By having this presentation early on, we really would like to encourage you to not leave this planning for grade 12, because we know how stressful it can be if you feel that you don't know your options, or you're just not really sure what you would like to do. So we encourage you to start early. You're in grade 10 right now. We encourage you to think about all these questions. So think about your strengths and your interests. How do those relate to what you want in your life goals and your career goals? Think about some of your other your interests or for example, part-time employment or experiential learning programs, for example, such as co-op or dual credit. You might be someone who doesn't plan to work in a skilled trade in the future, but you might have a spare on your timetable and you might want to explore a skilled trade while you're in high school. And in doing so, you might qualify for the Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program and be able to earn some hours towards a possible future apprenticeship as another possible career pathway. So we do encourage you to learn as much as you can. Think about your goals. And as Ms. Orr said, we're important to work backwards. Where do you need to be in grade 12 if you are going to be eligible for a certain program? So think about what you'll need in grade 12 and work backwards from there. And that should help you select your courses, whether you are headed for an apprenticeship or a college program, university, even gap year. There are links here on this slide here you can go through after and you can double check all of the information. So we also had an information session for post-secondary pathway planning. There are a lot of options. There are new things coming up all the time. There's a lot of new combinations, a lot of new partnerships, even between colleges and universities, called collaborative programs. You might not be sure which one is for you, but you might search up a collaborative program that has 2 years university and 2 years college, and then it might open up a lot of doors for other options. So we know, information is power. Learn as much as you can so you know fully what options are there, and as always, we're here to help you.
Okay, so we want to make sure that we are leaving some time to talk about SHSM, and then we will review our final thoughts, things to remember, and important timelines and due dates. So right now I am going to welcome Mr. Lalonde and Ms. Raybould, who is here to talk to you about SHSM, which is our Specialist High Skill Major Program. Mr. Lalonde. Oh, sorry, Mr. Lalonde, are you there? Oh dear. Okay, we're going to give Mr. Lalonde a second. And I can start with this bit. Then he can join us for the arts and culture. It might just be something with his microphone. We will see. So SHSM is a specialized program that we have here. We have two. So we have the arts and culture and the health and wellness. So part of it is allowing you to customize your high school experience, enhance your employability, as well as receive industry recognized certifications, more hands-on practical experience, as well as earn a Ministry of Education diploma seal when you graduate in grade 12. So there are really specific components to this, which we're going to review. So if you are interested in a specialist high skills major, I now hear Mr. Lalonde, so he can tell you more about it.
Can you hear me okay now?
We can indeed.
All right, sorry about that.
No worries.
So as Ms. Orr introduced, my name is Mr. Lalonde. I'm one of the lead teachers for SHSM. Ms. Raybould is just finishing up class, so she should be here soon. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about what the SHSM program is. First of all, what does it stand for? SHSM stands for Specialist High Skills Major, and it's a government-funded program, and the goal of the program is to expose high school students to as many of the different opportunities in Ontario for after high school. There's a number of different types of SHSM, and we're lucky to have two of them here at the Woodlands. One of them in arts and culture, which I'm the lead teacher for, and then one in health and wellness, which Ms. Raybould is the lead teacher for. And she's running in right now, so this is perfect timing. So I'll start by talking a little bit about the arts and culture program.
Hi everyone, it's Ms. Gradw. I'm here now.
So the arts and culture program is a specialized program that incorporates a number of different art forms and social studies, cultural studies, and looks at the business of the arts. So anybody interested in potentially pursuing a career in the arts can learn a little bit about what a career in the arts might look like, what it consists of. And the SHSM program is running grade 11 and 12. And to complete it successfully, there's a few things that you need. But if you're interested in either arts and culture or health and wellness, you're probably already doing these things anyway. So for arts and culture, you need to complete 8 specific courses. One of them is 2 of those credits would be grade 11 co-op. One of those credits would be senior English, which everyone's going to be taking anyway. And then 4 of the credits would be in your arts and culture major courses. So if you're considering a career in the arts, you're probably already taking a lot of these courses. It can be visual art, music, drama, a number of the social studies, a number of the languages, the humanities courses, law, and you need to take 4 either grade 11 or 12 major courses, and then 1 extra course in either business, Canadian studies, or world studies. And in addition to taking these courses, on behalf of you for signing up for SHSM, the government gives us money to take you on field trips and do different workshops with you so you can really learn about the different potential career paths that you're interested in. Next slide, please. So this is just a few of the field trips that we've been on in the past and field trips that we have planned for this year or next year. The Living Arts Center is always one of the big field trips because we get to get exposed to a number of different art forms that we may not have even known anything about. Students get to do workshops in DJing, stage combat, glass blowing, audition technique. And we get to do field trips to explore things like special effects makeup. We typically go down to the Toronto Symphony Orchestra for any students really considering a career in music. Getting that backstage tour and learning what it entails to be in an orchestra is always a valuable experience. For our visual art students, we do a number of visual art workshops throughout the year. This year, we're doing some great ones in digital background painting, character design, storytelling, and then a workshop in tattooing, learning about the business of tattooing and how a student who began as just a student with a passion for visual art turned that into a career, and then using their business acumen, turned that into their own successful business. We do field trips to the Toronto International Film Festival, the Stratford Festival, and it's just a great way to learn about the different opportunities in the arts, especially living in the GTA. There are so many potential career choices, and in addition to being extremely educational, it's also a ton of fun to go on these field trips. Next slide. So the point of these field trips is to give you certifications in different areas. So 3 of the certifications are mandatory for all SHSM students. You will get certifications in CPR training, first aid, and WMIS. And then if you sign up for arts and culture, you'll notice there are a number of elective certifications. So certifications specific to arts and culture in particular. And I won't go through them all, but you can see they're all over the board. So if you have any potential interest in maybe pursuing a career in the arts or culture sector, there's a way that we can make it work for you. Every year is unique depending on the students that we have in the program. I highly encourage you, if you're potentially considering a career in arts and culture, to sign up for SHSM next year. And now I'll pass it over to Ms. Rabel to talk a bit about the health and wellness program.
Hi there, everyone. So I know you guys got a introduction to what SHSM is and why it has been so successful here at the Woodlands for almost the last 10 years now, really. So the nice thing about the SHSM programs we run here is that we spend a lot of time making sure that we work together so that students in both SHSMs will have an opportunity to at times work together as one large group. And that way, whether you're health and wellness or arts and culture, yes, we have different experiences, different passions, different outlooks, but really we are sort of all committed to the same process, which is to give you an opportunity to kind of test drive what you might be interested in doing as part of your post-secondary endeavors. And so let me talk a little bit about the health and wellness program here. So much like Mr. Lalonde went over, a lot of the components for the two are fairly similar in the sense that because they are put out by the Ministry of Education, there are certain things that are consistent between them, such as having to complete a bundle of core credits. So they are a little bit different for health and wellness, and I'll kind of go through that with you. Much like arts and culture, a two co-op credit course is mandatory in your grade 11 year. We get a lot of students that ask whether or not it's possible to take it in summer school and to take it in their grade 12 year, and the answer is unfortunately no. They are very strict with how they provide us money and how they support the program, and it is mandatory that you take it in your grade 11 year, so please make sure that you get that on your course selections so that you get one of the spots, okay? Then as we go through, much like arts and culture, you also have to take that grade 12 English. And then a bundle of other credits that would be in, so you would have to have 2 sciences, you'll have to have, I believe, 1 math, and then the other ones come in areas that relate to health and wellness. Now, this could be additional sciences, a lot of your humanities, nutrition, physical activity, family services, or like family studies courses, all sort of move towards the health and wellness field. So much like Mr. Lalonde said, chances are if health and wellness is already a passion of yours, you're probably already taking the right credits in order to be eligible for the program anyways, but we definitely do look over the courses you're taking. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so again, Mr. Lalonde's trying to show me up. His list was much, much longer than mine, but there's a number of different reach ahead and certification opportunities for health and wellness. We've listed just a few here. In last year, we were not able to do as many of them as we would like, and this year we're slowly getting back into doing a lot more hands-on stuff. So we're hopeful that going forward we'll be able to get back into the full swing of things with regards to field trips and hands-on certifications and opportunities. So one of the big ones that we have offered for the last number of years is an overnight excursion to Cedar Glen, where you work on things like leadership certification. And this is one of those that we overlap with arts and culture. We'll do things like the Raptors experience. It's an all-day activity where you will talk about, you'll get a backstage tour of the arena. You'll get a Q&A with a lot of people involved in everything from sports doctors to nutritionists to sports and business. And there's generally a tour of U of T there, their science schools. And then, of course, we see a Raptors game. Well, yes. And so looking at things like we've done different kinds of yoga workshops and wellness workshops, safe body mechanics and ergonomics. So looking at how we sit, how we stand, how we walk. We have done a joint tour with Mr. Lalonde and Arts and Culture in the McMaster's Live Lab at McMaster. We've gone to the sports clinic and health science buildings at Brock University. And then there's all kinds of other ones that we've been looking at doing, concussion awareness, fitness certifications, we were looking last year or 2 years ago to doing one at Huff Gym and doing like a boxing certificate. So we'll see where the interest lies in our students this year. Next slide, please. Okay, so much like arts and culture, oh, wrong label there. We have CPR, first aid, WMIS, and our fourth mandatory one is infection control. And much like arts and culture, there's a number of different ones that we look at doing. Things like safe food handling has already been done this year. We're looking to do some sports injuries and taping and wraps. Group dynamics is booked for our students this year in December, so that one is happening. And then really this is our way of touching base with you as students and seeing what interests you may have. Next slide, please. Okay, so right now, if you're looking to join the SHSM program, there will be two different Google Forms that will be coming available soon. I think that Ms. Orr is going to maybe talk about those dates in just a moment, but they are generally linked to the Student Services website, and you'll be able to go in there and directly apply right through once you have sent in your course selections. All right, and you would apply separately for health and wellness or arts and culture. It's not the same application. Next slide, please. All right, that is it for us. We hope to see many of you take SHSM in grade 11 next year. If you have any further questions, Ms. Raybould can be found in room 125 near Student Services. Feel free to pop down and ask me any questions.
And you can find Mr. Lalonde in room 139, aka the drama room, or you can send either of us an email. If listening to today's presentation sparked a question in your head, don't be afraid to send us an email to get more information. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, and sorry again about that slide. I will fix that.
No worries.
Thank you to Mr. Lalonde and Ms. Raybould for joining us today. That was very informative. And now to go back to a couple of details regarding course selection and summer school. Important to know, if you are planning on taking a particular course in summer school, please do not also include that course in your requested course selections for next year. There is a spot right within my blueprint where you can leave a note for your guidance counselor saying that you plan to take a particular course in summer school. So for example, if you're planning to take something in summer school and we think you might have forgotten to actually put it down, please let us know. Write a note right in there and say, I intend to take this course in summer. And that way we would ask that you actually put in the course you do hope to take, so we know what to expect and which courses you are actually hoping to take. Another reminder, if you're in the enhanced learning program, students in the ELP are expected to take their courses at the enhanced level if they are offered. So for example, your science, your math, your English courses, and some of your social sciences if available. Finally, if you're a student in the special education program and you do have an IEP, you are eligible to take the GLE courses.
Okay, so some final words in regard to reach ahead credits and fast tracking. So when you are doing your course selection, at maximum you are permitted to choose 2 fast tracking, so grade 11 courses at maximum. Some of you inevitably will request more than the 2. This is a school policy, and the reasons why we have this policy in place are really important for you to know, so that when you go through your course selection, you're aware of what kind of conflicts might sort out from it. Now, for some of you, you're not intending on fast tracking any courses, and that's perfect. You do not have to. But if you are considering it, we want you to also keep these things in mind. So when you are selecting a fast track course, we want to let you know that it increases the incidence of course conflicts. So that's when 2 of your selected courses actually run at the same time. So when we're building our timetable, we build it so that grade 9 courses work well together, grade 10 courses work well together, grade 11 courses work well together, and so on and so forth. The thing is if you pick your grade 11 courses and then in addition other like fast tracking courses, then what you risk is that they're going to actually be in conflict with your grade 11 courses. So I am going to update this because just to reflect sort of what those concerns can actually look like for you. So when you go to pick your grade 11 courses for next year, please make sure that you're keeping all of that in mind because you don't want to bump into course conflicts, right? What you do want to do is also talk to your guidance counselor when you are thinking about things that you may actually want to select when you are reaching ahead. So as I said, I'm going to update that first line because I'm just realizing I didn't save. I definitely know I did this part last night because we do our best to accommodate all requests. We do our best to try to make that work within your timetable, but you also have to know when you're doing your research, when you are looking at things in terms of pathway, you have to know that you've got to take your grade 11 math before you can take a grade 12 math. You have to take your grade 11 biology before you can take a grade 12 biology. So these are just things that we have to also consider when we're building your timetable. So the other thing to keep in mind is, let's say you are picking that fast track course, but we really need that space in grade 12 for a grade 12 student. So that means that we're actually going to have to put you on that wait list, that side list that we have, so that we can get everyone who is in that grade into the course. Okay, so we have to give priority to people who are actually within that grade. So that's also something to keep in mind. So you're going to want to say, okay, am I academically ready to take these fast tracking courses? Am I not only mature enough? Am I able to have those conversations? Am I able to handle that workload? What are my extracurricular commitments? What are my curricular commitments? Maybe some of you are going to have a part-time job next year, and you have to be aware that that is a heavier course load. And are you ready to take that on? Have the conversation with your parents, have your conversation with your guidance counselors, because we're here to help you with that. And so timing does matter. I started talking about this earlier on in the presentation. It is definitely something that I really want you to keep in mind when you are considering your course selection. Again, the reason why we've done this all so early is, oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Lagudis, I realized this was you, so sorry. It is just not my afternoon. So what we want to keep in mind is that we're doing this assembly right now so that you are ready to go when you are doing your course selection submission January 10th. And what that means is that you've done your research, you've asked your questions, you've gone in ahead of time, you've added the courses that you want to do to my blueprint so that January 10th you are ready to hit submit, enter your parents' or guardian's email address, send that off to them so that they can also hit approve, and then your guidance counselor can approve of those course selections. And what that does is it puts you into a line, like a bit of a queue, an electronic queue that lets us know if you're put on a wait list for something because of a course conflict, or we have to look at those alternative courses because maybe a course was canceled. All of that is linked to the time with which you submitted your course selection. So it really does matter. And so anytime that you maybe hit submit and then 2 days later you realized, ooh, I should have really picked something different. Ms. Orr, can you please reopen my course selection? I can do that, but then also realize that that resets your clock. And so now you're, let's say you were ready at 8:01 on January 10th, you hit submit, but a week later you ask for it to be reopened, your time resets. And when you have to go through the whole process again, right? You have to submit, you have to send approval to parents, and then I have to approve, and then that puts you into that electronic queue. So please make sure you're doing your research. Please do all the work ahead of time. And please make sure that you are adding those alternative courses. So in case we do have course conflicts or course cancellations, we have that alternative ready to go.
And some final thoughts for everybody to keep in mind. We do ask that students and families please consider all of these policies when you are selecting the courses. If a student doesn't meet criteria for a course, or if there's something missing in the course selection, we do have to return the course selection to you for revision. We also ask that once you have selected and you've submitted your courses in My Blueprint, that you do then request your parent or guardian approval. So that is the next step to complete the whole process. So if your course selections are actually not approved by a parent or guardian, unfortunately, we will not be able to process them. So please ensure that you have a valid email address and that your parent or guardian is confirming your course selection as soon as possible. Also, regarding timetable changes, a lot of students ask us about whether they can make changes, and they are difficult to make. Sometimes they're not possible, although, as Ms. Orr mentioned, we do everything we can to try to give you all of the courses that you've requested. So, but especially once school begins, it becomes much more difficult for us to be able to make changes once everyone is in their classes. So there will be an opportunity in March. Ms. Orr is going to talk about that in a second. And also in later August to be able to request a timetable change, and we will then do our best to make that change wherever possible. And then finally, yes, one last reminder about any questions, please contact your guidance counselor.
All right, so we have some important dates. So course selection opens up January 10th, and it's going to close for that first round on February 1st. So within that window, that's when you want to go in and click submit, because you'll have already done all your research, you'll have already answered your asked your questions, you'll have already gone in and selected your courses, fingers crossed, so that come January 10th, you just go in and you click submit. But if you are a bit of a procrastinator and you're like, nah, I'll do it later, then you've got until February 1st before you start hearing from Ms. Lagudis and I, because then we are going to start knocking on, your classroom door and asking you to come on down to do your course selection. So then we have some course selection changes come February 14th to the 18th. And what that means is you're going to have a chance, because by then we will be into second semester courses. And let's say you have, a tech course in second semester and you're not really sure if you really like it, but you think you're going to, or you don't think you're going to, so you don't pick it for second semester. But let's say you get into it and you actually really enjoy it and you're upset that you didn't pick it for next year. You're going to be able to submit a Google form to your guidance counselor saying, please replace this with this. And we will go in and make that change for you, which does not reset that submission date when you originally submitted your course selections, okay? So we're not reopening course selection. We're simply making small little minor changes for you. So also, let's say you picked university math, but you really in your research you realized you only need to do college level math. We can go in and make that change for you. So it's just little tiny changes that we can do for you between the 14th and the 18th in February. Course change request is the more formalized process. So that means that your courses are now in the student information system and the March date is right before we're about to start timetabling. So if you have a course change request, we are now firmly into semester 2 and you are like, nope, do not want to do this next year, or yes, I absolutely want to pick this for next year, then what you are going to have is a chance to make that course change request. So please keep that in mind when we're moving forward. When you're going into semester 2, really pay attention to the courses that you're doing. If you've selected the next step to it for grade 11, or if you didn't and you really want to make those changes, March is going to be your chance to do so. And then our final course change request for next year runs from August 29th to September 9th, so that we can have everyone in your courses full-time for school to start next year. So please also keep that in mind, that that's going to be your last opportunity to make any course changes for your timetable for next year would be in August, beginning of September. We also have some important links on here that you're going to need when it comes to course selection, as well as just things that you should know. So one is the course selection information sheet. So that is a really quick double check of everything that we've talked about today. It's already available for you. We will be sending it out in December, along with the links and information for our virtual course fair, which will start on December 1st. So even if you don't click on it right now, just know that you and your parents or guardians are going to get that shortly. We are going to be posting this recording as well as this presentation up on the Student Services site, which is also connected to our emails. The addresses are on many of the posters throughout the building, as well as all of our social media. You can click on those links there, and you're also going to have access to community service volunteering information, how to submit your community service, and then come December 1st, the site will go live for our virtual course fair. So let's say you really do want to pick, a course, and maybe it's a phys ed course, or maybe it's a social science course, and you don't really know what it's all about. That virtual course fair is going to be really helpful for you, because not only is it going to give the written description of the course, which is what you can already find in my blueprint, but what we're adding this year is videos, photos, examples of some of the work that they're doing in those classes, so that you can actually have a real-time perspective of what it is that goes on in those classes, and if it's something that would really appeal to you. So that's also what's going to be coming up. So please stay tuned for that. And yeah, so we are now at that time in this presentation where you can ask us questions. We have the Q&A that is open. So as a class, maybe you want to type in some questions. Maybe you want to do it on your own. If you are listening on your own personal device, you can add your questions, and Ms. Lagudis and I are happy to answer anything, both in regards to SHSM, maybe dual credits, maybe just pathway. You have some questions that you want to ask us, and we can go from there. I will also post the link to the Student Services site in the Q&A, because someone has asked us to do that, and I can certainly do that. So at this time, are there any questions that you would like us to discuss?
Ms. Orr, maybe we can start with the question a few students are asking about whether they can take a spare in grades 11 or 12. And I would like to say yes, you can technically take a spare in grade 11 or 12. There are a few considerations, some things to consider. Number one, if you're, let's say, planning to take a spare in grade 11, so you only would like your preference is to take only 7 courses and not 8. It should be fine. If your family is okay with that and you're okay with it and you feel confident in all of your other choices, then technically you can. That would mean you would then have 23 courses at the end of grade 11. So you would still need 7 more, which would mean you would still be able to take 1 more spare in grade 12, but not 2 spares. Another thing to consider is if there's any course that you're maybe a little bit more hesitant on, or you're not sure if that's a course that you would like to keep, or you're considering, possibly dropping a course, then you won't be able to do that, because a student does have to have at least 3 courses out of 4 in a semester to be a full-time student. So if I have only scheduled myself in 3 in one semester, and then I have 1 spare, but then I really need to drop 1, or I just would like to drop 1, then it becomes a lot harder to be able to drop 1 and then become a part-time student if you've only planned for 7. That being said, we do have some students that do have a spare in grade 11. There are some students who would prefer to have 8, but maybe they weren't able to accommodate everything they wanted. So we do have some other options if that's the case for you, if you would like to fill your timetable, but maybe you couldn't, maybe you had a timetable conflict and had to choose between 2. We can also share information about possible night school alternatives. For students in grades 11 and 12, night school does run in semesters 1 and 2, or e-learning courses or dual credit courses. So you can definitely, if you're planning it out, maybe meet with your guidance counselor, talk to your family to see what would be best for you in terms of planning. So you might be somebody who would like to pick 8, see if they're available, and then you might plan to have, let's say, your 2 spares in grade 12 year when you're a little bit busier than you are in your grade 11 year. So a lot to consider. So yes, thank you for that question.
So we have a question about a 5th year in case we've not tried everything we want to try, and I love that question. So yes, I know that there's a lot of courses that we all really want to try and explore and experience, and I do appreciate that. If you are wanting to return for your 5th year, more so because you feel like you're just not prepared for post-secondary yet, or maybe you haven't reached your 30 credits and you need to return for that 5th year, all of that is based on 1, do we have room in those courses, and 2, it's reviewed by your vice principal. So for those 5th years, if you're coming back simply because you really want to take more courses, that's definitely a conversation that you can have with your guidance counselor and your vice principal. But if you are requesting returning for that 5th year because maybe you've been unsuccessful in a few of those credits and you need to make up the difference, or you are just feel it's a personal decision, you've talked with your family, you've talked with your guidance counselor, you've talked with your BP, and you just feel like you need one more year, then that's definitely something that we review on a case-by-case basis. Regarding volunteer hours, must you submit them every time you earn a certain number of hours, or do you just submit them all at once? So I definitely don't recommend waiting until you submit them all at once, simply because if you lose that piece of paper, it's going to be sad days. So if you go and do something and you've earned 5 hours, submit them. You don't have to submit them every time you've earned an hour or two, but maybe once a semester or once a year, submit those hours using the Google form, and your guidance counselor will process them. It is an ongoing basis for processing, so if you have submitted hours maybe within the last month, because we've been gearing up for open houses and course selection and assemblies and registrations and presentations, and it's been a really, really hectic time down here. We've not really had a chance to update too many because we've also been focusing on processing all of the grade 12s, getting them ready for their post-secondary applications. So we will be turning our attention and focusing on the 9 through 11 in the next week or so. So if you've already submitted your hours, never fear, they will be updated, and then you'll see that reflected in my blueprint.
We've also had a question about whether a student who's not in the enhanced learning program can choose an enhanced level course. And no, they cannot, because you do have to be in the enhanced learning program in order to take the courses labeled section E for enhanced. Perfect.
Another question about MCF 3M, if it is running next year, and we are offering it, yes. So if you are interested in the mixed math class, please make sure you select that for your course selection for math.
Oh, and another question regarding the enhanced courses, whether they are considered university level. Yes, they definitely are. If there is a U in the course code, then yes, it's a university level course. So when universities are checking whether a course is university level or not, it is that the letter U that they are looking for, or M for mixed college university. The E at the end of the course code is our code for our students in the enhanced learning program. But then in terms of the level, if there is a U, then yes, it is a university course.
I was wondering what courses are considered elective credits. So that's anything beyond what you have to take. So for going into grade 11, you have to take your English, you have to take a math. Anything beyond that is an elective course. So those are courses that are maybe tech, drama, art, social science, your sciences, so biology, chemistry, physics, all of those are elective credits. And then when you go into grade 12, the only compulsory course you have to take is English. So then you would, all other courses that you select would be elective credits.
Whether a student can change a course if they don't like it once it begins, and how that would work. So, I mean, this might depend on a couple of factors. Sometimes, as we mentioned before, that there is going to be that course change period, which is usually going to be before. So once courses begin, it is very difficult to make a course change. It sometimes depends on the circumstances. Sometimes it is possible to drop a course if it's a course you're not going to need, but we can't really guarantee that we'll be able to replace a course because there's usually not a lot of room for a lot of movement between courses. So we cannot guarantee, but we would want to hear from you if there's any concerns, if there's a course that isn't working for you. But generally, I would try to plan ahead instead of thinking that it'll be easy to make a switch, because as we said before, it is quite challenging to make a change once a course has begun.
So where do we submit volunteer hours? So if you go to that student services site, and I put the link in the chat, it's also on, as I said, our emails, it's on our social medias, it's posted on the posters throughout the building. If you go to community service, there is a whole button right there that says submit your community service hours. You can submit everything through there. Everything is electronic, so we don't need hard copies anymore, so please submit them through there. Not really sure. This other question says, where can we find the Google form again? I'm not really 100% sure which Google form you are meaning. If it's to do with community service, as I just said, it's on the Student Services site. If you are talking about the SHSM, there's an SHSM page right on the Student Services site. And then once you are doing your course selection, that will go live, so that while you're doing your course selection, if you've decided, yep, SHSM is for me, then you're going to fill out that Google form for SHSM, and that will coincide with your course selection.
Question about M courses, university college mixed courses, whether they count as university courses. And yes, for most university programs, when you look at the requirements, most will say that you require in your grade 12 year 6 U or M courses. So generally speaking, yes. If your particular program you're applying for has any specific requirements, and we have heard of a few that say no more than 2 courses can be M courses, that would be specified by that particular program. But in general, most programs are considering U or M courses as valid.
If a student has an ESL credit, do they need to take a French credit throughout high school? No, they do not. Your guidance counselor on our end will substitute one of your ESL classes for your French credit. So if you go into my blueprint, and that's actually a really good point to bring up, if you go into my blueprint and you click that progress button and you see that your French credit hasn't been fulfilled, that's just an administrative task that we have to do on our end, but it would be super helpful if you contacted your guidance counselor and say, hey, heads up, my French credit needs to be adjusted, and we are going to know exactly what it is that you're talking about, and then we will go into the student information system and we will make that adjustment for you right then and there. So there's currently no university English course on the blueprint will be added. So remember, you're not doing the grade 11 English university course, so you're not going to do that ENG 3U course. So no, that one's not going to be there, but the course that you will be doing, which is the NDE, will be there. So they're updating everything right now, so that course should be there hopefully by the end of this week, and then you can select that. And just like that, I think we are done all of our questions. Yay! So
thank you everybody for joining today. And if we wanted to just remind you that you can also contact your guidance counselor a few different ways. You can find us in the hallway in front of the cafeteria every Tuesday and Thursday at lunch between 11 and 11:30 with our guidance on the go cart with our amazing sign that one of our art students made for us. You can request an appointment with us using the Google form on the Student Services site, as Ms. Orr mentioned. And you can email us as well, and please reach out anytime. Please also continue to be patient. We really appreciate your patience. It is very busy, and some periods of the year are busier than others. So we do receive hundreds of emails, and we work through them as quickly as possible. So thank you very much for that. And thank you for joining us today. And Ms. Orr, is there anything else?
That's it. If you do, we will say it again, and we'll say it 1,000 times more. If you have questions, please reach out to your guidance counselor. If you have questions regarding pathway, we are here to help you. If you have questions regarding courses, we're here to help you. Your classroom teachers are there to help you as well if you're interested in talking more about their particular subject. And then, as I put in one of the previous slides, the virtual course fair is going to go live December 1st, so that may also answer some of your questions. And other than that, I hope you all have a great afternoon. Bells are going to ring soon, so we'll leave you with that. Take care, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.